he was an undercover state trooper in Kentucky. He was a detective, and he drove this truck undercover. He was running down Bootleggers, and he had done some work to the engine. He had souped the engine a little. We never would tell me exactly what he did, but it was a lot faster than it's supposed to be. And at sentencing day, one guy he had put in prison said, "When I get out of jail, I'll kill you." And so years down the road, the guy got out and drove up alongside my uncle on a back road in Kentucky and opened fire. Shot the back glass out of it, shot the side glass out. One of the bullets came through, it struck that vent window post, left that dent, broke the glass. The impact broke the side window, but it still rolls up and down just fine. So I replaced the glass, and I've never had to do anything to the track. So it still functions fine. But I remember seeing the windows all shot out of it as a kid, and hearing my uncle tell the story, and over Grandma and Grandpa's house.
How's it going, guys? My name's Matt.
And I'm Jim.
And you're watching The Car Show, guys. We have got a good one for you today.
Oh, yeah. It's another one from our trip down there to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee with the Grand National F100 show. And we've got moonshine, we got bullet holes, and we got an old Ford truck. It don't get any better than that.
Yeah, we know how much you guys have been enjoying these stories, and I don't want to give too much away. You're going to want to watch this one to the end. These are some great stories. So we're not going to talk too much. Let's get into it.
My name is Don Morris. I have a 1955 Ford F100. Now the original engine, this is a 292 Y block. It's the original engine on it. Just recently upgraded it to electronic fuel injection. That's an intake off 57 Thunderbird 4-barrel intake, and that's a Holly Sniper 4-barrel electronic fuel injection. Just put that on because I drive it all the time. We were trying to make it more dependable, more streetable, and it's been great. So the original engine, the suspension is all from AJE Suspensions here. He has, I'm his guinea pig. He put independent front suspension, Mustang 2 rack and pinion, 4-wheel disc brakes, triangulated 4-link in the rear, narrowed 9-inch rear end, and 350 gears. So because I drive it, he wanted a guinea pig that could give him feedback, and so we've done that. The body and the paint is homemade. That's all. I do my own body work and my own paint, and have some local friends at home that taught me a lot and helped me out with it. But I've kind of been keeping it up since I was a kid. This paint on here is about 8 years old. The interior, Mikey Brown from in Deputy, Indiana, did my interior for me. We traded out I had some truck parts, and he had skills and some fabric left over, and he built my interior. The wood is not original. I put the wood in about 10 years ago. This is the second time I've refinished the wood in the bed. It got all nasty and the varnish popped off of it and it turned gray, so I pulled it out, resanded everything, stained it gun stock brown, put 5 coats of spar urethane on it, or spar varnish rather, and sanded it between coats, and so hopefully it'll hang in there for a little while longer. But that's a second refinish on that same wood. This truck has been in the family since the beginning. Grandpa had this truck. He drove it. My uncle had this truck. He was an undercover state trooper in Kentucky. My uncle gave the truck back to Grandpa. Grandpa drove the truck, sold the truck to my dad. My dad bought the truck in about probably 74. And it was a farm truck. We hauled feeder pigs in that truck. We hauled firewood, corn, rocks, all the things that farm trucks do. And when I turned 15, I bought it from Dad for $350. And that was, it's been a love-hate relationship with it ever since. It's one of those old trucks you love them when they run right, and you hated them when they didn't, and that's about 50-50 split. So you love the trucks, you got so much in them, too many memories wrapped up in them, you can't get rid of it. So you have to keep it, and you have to keep working on it. So now it's more love than hate anymore. So I'm liking it a whole lot better. But the truck lives in the barn with the goats and the donkeys and the sheep and the chickens, and it's a real world truck. It's not a show truck. It's a driver. The reason I bought the truck when I was 15. There were 5 of us kids, and Dad had a rule that nobody was allowed to date until you were 16. You had your own job or your own money, and you had your own car. So I had my feeder pig business at the farm. I bought that truck when I was 15, so when I turned 16, I was ready to be turned down by every girl in high school, and and that worked. But it wasn't because I didn't have a truck and didn't have a job, but that was kind of a stipulation, so I bought that. I took that truck to the prom. My son drove that truck to the prom. And so it'll be his one of these days, God willing, but I'm hoping to drive the wheels off of it before he gets it. But yeah, it's a family heirloom. It's got a lot of stories. People ask me, well, why don't you replace the steering wheel? It's cracked and broken. I said, there's DNA on it. Dad and Grandpa wrapped their big knuckles around that steering wheel, and that was the steering wheel that I learned to drive on. I went on my first date in that truck. Learn to drive in that truck. Just some things you just don't want to fix them. You just want to leave them alone. There's dents and scratches, and I got a story behind every one of them. My uncle, he was an undercover state trooper in Kentucky. He was a detective, and he drove this truck undercover. He was running down Bootleggers, and he had done some work to the engine. He had souped the engine a little. We never would tell me exactly what he did, but it was a lot faster than it's supposed to be. And at sentencing day, one guy he had put in prison said, when I get out of jail, I'll kill you. And so years down the road, the guy got out and drove up alongside my uncle on a back road in Kentucky and opened fire, shot the back glass out of it, shot the side glass out. One of the bullets came through and struck that vent window post, left that dent, broke the glass. The impact broke the side window, but it still rolls up and down just fine. So I replaced the glass, and I've never had to do anything to the track. So it still functions fine. But I remember seeing the windows all shot out of it as a kid, and hearing my uncle tell the story, and over Grandma and Grandpa's house. But the truck, my wife calls it, and she named it Nadine. It usually has a plate on the front that says Nadine because she says the other woman. Because I spent so much time with it that she said Nadine just sounds like a nasty other woman. So that was the name that she's given the truck. I've had a lot of colorful names for it over the past years, but we use it now. It's been used in Indiana, where I'm a pastor. We've used it for men's ministry there as a kind of our restored men's ministry was our theme, and we talked about how the truck, that nobody liked it in high school, and when I started putting it back together, nobody thought it had any value, and I was able to take that and turn that into make something of it, and how God does that to us, restores us, makes us better than we were before, when the world may not give us any value. So anyway.
See, I told you that it was a good one.
Yeah, it sure was. We met Don inside the convention center, and we could have probably stood there and talked to him all day.
Yeah, Don's story was great. You could tell that truck meant a lot to him and a lot to his family. And those are always cool stories to be able to watch. We interviewed his friend inside the convention center who was a vendor, and we could have done his story as well. But we can't get them all, and so we'll try to get him next year.
Yeah. So I'm going to change the subject on you. If you notice my shirt, we got shirts out there now with the Car Show Guy logo on them. So get a hold of us at carshowguys@gmail.com. We'll hook you up. We also want to remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button so that you're notified of the next episode that's coming out.
Yeah, and speaking of the next episode, we got to take a little break next weekend. We try to get one out every week, but sometimes that's not possible. And so we're going to be coming back the weekend after that on the 25th. So you're not going to want to miss this one. It is a great story. I want to say some tears were involved, but yeah, it was really good. So if we don't see you online, we'll see you at the show.